Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, before we start, I just want to make sure that everything is correct. So let me know if the camera is functioning nicely, if the audio is well. And if everything is good, we shall start right away. So during the live stream, if there's any problem with the camera, the sound, or if I'm disconnected or anything, please be patient. I will be coming back. It is hard to stay connected nicely from where I am. All right. So thank you very much for attending this most important session. And also, please accept my humble obeisances, all of you who are watching this live and those of you who will be watching this later on as a replay. All right, so we shall start with the Mangala Charana prayer, and then we shall jump right into it. It is a lengthy topic, and there's no time to waste. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Taismai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utam Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunantam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Pracharin Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachadi Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanand Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shvasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you very much for joining. This is a very important topic. I've seen there was a comment by Mr. Narayana Nalamala who said that last previous class he has the same question, same topic. And yes, actually, but this topic is so important that we need a whole class to try to cover it up. And even a whole class won't cover every aspect, but we hope that it will help those who are confused as to why we work under the ISKM name to understand, the reason. All right. So first of all, I'd like to offer my humble obeisances to everyone. And I apologize if anyone will feel offended for this lecture. Our goal is only for establishing what Srila Prabhupada wants. That's all. There is no motivation behind this. We do not care for being famous or getting money out of this. We have no. In fact, by doing so, we are attracting a lot of fire, right? Meaning a lot of people get angry at us by simply trying to show what Prabhupada wanted for his institution after he departed. So that is our only motive. I'm not being paid for doing this or anything. So we want to be discussing what is the Siddhanta, the truth of Srila Prabhupada's instructions after his departure. That is our only motivation. I'm sorry, I just realized I have a hole here in my kurta. Anyway, so all right, so before we begin, I would like to show again something that I have shown in the previous session, which was important, so that we understand why it is okay to find fault at times. So here I'm going to start presenting my screen. Let me know if this is, I believe you can see. So, okay, so I showed this last time. This is from, it's called Vaishnava Ninda. It's an article written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a great acharya in our sampradaya. So I would like to repeat that again. Okay. So it's in here, you can see Vaishnava Ninda, offenses to devotees. Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes the different categories of jivas and Vaishnavas and explain the dangers of committing offenses to them. So our whole point is not that we want to commit offense to anyone. We should, be very careful not to commit offense to Vaishnavas, but there are some instances where it is okay to point out faults, even in Vaishnavas. So here, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, at this stage in our discussion, an opposing point of view may arise. Would it be proper to deliberate on other types of faults found in a Vaishnava? So you see, found in a Vaishnava. He's speaking about finding faults in Vaishnavas. Besides these three that have already been mentioned. Okay, so the three mentions are here. Sorry, yeah. Actually, okay. All right. Here, so yet if one has proper intentions in pointing out another's faults, then Shastra does not consider that as an offense. There are three types of proper intention. If we expose someone's sins in order that they ultimately attain auspiciousness, then such discussions are favorable. So that is one of our intention. We hope that anyone who is deviating, even if it's myself, we hope that we might be attaining auspiciousness. In other words, that we might rectify our deviations and come back to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Then such discussions are favorable. If we deliberate on a sinner's vices in order to benefit the whole world, then this should be counted as an auspicious action. So these discussions are very good for the whole world, especially for the members of ISKCON and all Vaishnava, actually, because it helps us understand the Siddhanta of Guru Tattva and also what Diksha actually means, initiation. Then if such deliberations are for one's own spiritual benefit, then such an aspect carries no fault. So each and every one of us are actually responsible for our own spiritual life, and we have to be very careful when progressing. This is why actually Shastra tells us that we have to analyze a guru at least 1 year before surrendering to him. This is very important. This is not just a disciple analyzing guru, but guru also must analyze the disciple. So there is, in this way, a mutual test before the disciple surrenders. The disciple has to understand that, is this Vaishnava, is this spiritual master capable of fulfilling all the needs that I have, which is basically being able to bring back the disciple back home, back to Godhead. That is the ultimate, that we are trying to leave this material world, the repetition of birth and death. So is the spiritual master capable of doing so? And of course, the purest form of understanding is that we have to develop Krishna Prema, because we understand from Shastra that even pure devotees do not desire to go back to the spiritual world. So can this pure devotee give us this? All right, so from here, we can go, first of all, here, concerning disciples. So I believe I'm still sharing my screen. Yes, okay. So here is a verse from the Katha Upanishad. Many cannot hear about the soul, and even after hearing about it, many cannot understand it, because it is hard to find a guru who is a genuine seer of the truth. Such a qualified guru is a great soul and is very rare. Okay? Very rare. Only those who follow his teachings can realize the truth and become expert in the science of God. Such disciples are also very rare. So we're speaking of something here. We're speaking of a relationship that is very rarely found. So this might be a good time to show that, again, like we have shown last time, the list of initiating spiritual master in ISKCON. So here again, very rare. Such a qualified guru is very rare. Now we have got, in ISKCON at the moment, there are 94 devotees who are acting as a Diksha Guru. Okay, so I'm just pointing this out. Now we continue. Duties of disciple. Okay, so this is from Nectar of Instruction, Mantra 5. Okay, this is in the purport towards the end. Srila Prabhupada states. I'm going to show it up here. So this is prabhupadabooks.com. If you want all of the books of Srila Prabhupada, you can go there. Okay, so just give me a second. This is text 4, text 5 here. Okay, so Nectar of Instruction by Srila Rupa Goswami. Here, Srila Prabhupada at the end tells us something important. So this paragraph here. In this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami advises the devotee to be intelligent enough to distinguish between the Kanishtadikari, Madhyamadhyakari, and Uttamadikari. So Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada are telling us that we must start to understand the distinction between these three and be able to understand who is who and reciprocate accordingly. Okay. The devotee should also know his own position. We should know which one are we, and should not try to imitate a devotee situated on a higher platform. That is very important. A Madhyamadikari knows how to discriminate. If a Kanishtadikari tries to discriminate, he is imitating the Madhyamadikari. Therefore, a Kanishtadikari should not try to preach or give class or tell what is what. He should hear the Madhyamadikari preach, and then he should try to understand the standard of the Madhyamadikari's devotional service. Similarly, a Kanishtadikari should not also try to imitate an Uttamadikari. The Uttamadikari, actually, he cannot preach on his platform because he does not see any distinguishing. He sees everybody as pure devotee except himself. Therefore, where is the opportunity to preach? Therefore, he must come down to the second-class platform. That's not that his realization are diminished. No, it's just that he comes back to the discrimination of the Madhyamadikari. So actually, the standard of a guru, the way he acts, the way he preaches is Madhyamadikari platform. Guru means acting on the Madhyama platform. But the bona fide guru, as we will be seeing, is actually the Uttamadikari who comes back to the Madhyamadikari platform. A Madhyamadikari devotee only cannot also be a perfect Diksha Guru. Okay, so we should not try to imitate. We should not try to see every living entity as equal when we have not attained the position of an Uttamadikari. Therefore, we must learn proper discrimination from the second-class platform. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given some special hints to the effect that an Uttamadikari Vaishnava can be recognized by his ability to convert many fallen souls to Vaishnavism. So we have seen this, how Srila Prabhupada went to the West. He converted many, many fallen souls. This is the test. How many fallen souls can one save? So he came, he saved all the drug-addicted hippies. They were addicted to, all sorts of intoxication, and he made them Vaishnavas. He made them follow 4 regulative principles, chant Hare Krishna, and became fully dedicated to the Lord. And he did that in the West. That was the order of his spiritual master, that he should spread Vaishnavism, Krishna consciousness, Sanatana Dharma outside of India. And that is the test of who is a real Jagat Guru. Jagat Guru means of the whole world, not just of a specific country. Now, one should not become a spiritual master unless he has attained the platform of Uttama Adhikari. Prabhupada is telling us here, you should not attempt it. Okay, so this is an instruction from Srila Prabhupada, and that is being disobeyed in ISKCON. Why? Because in ISKCON, they do not they do not say that, okay, this spiritual master is Uttama Adhikari and so on. They actually, now the contingency, the general understanding in ISKCON is that they are all Madhyamadikari. The spiritual master, most of them are Madhyamadikari. So our stand is that actually a Madhyamadikari will not take the position of a guru without being ordered by his guru. And Madhyamadikari will understand who is on which platform. A Madhyamadikari will never disobey his spiritual master. So I'm sorry to say this statement, but we have to say it. This is the ground on which ISKM is working. We have the firm conviction that there's not one single Madhyamadikari or Uttamayadikari acting as spiritual master in ISKCON. We are of the strong conviction that all of them are Kanishta Adhikari, neophyte devotees. Now that might sound like a very heavy statement, but I beg to point out that Srila Prabhupada did say that all of his godbrothers, which were much, much more senior than the ISKCON gurus that started acting after Srila Prabhupada's departure, they were only 11 years maximum in the movement, right? So Srila Prabhupada did state that his godbrothers were all Kanishta Adhikari who did not have a potency to preach. So those are heavy statements of Srila Prabhupada, but this is called Acharya Sampradaya. We follow what the Acharya says, and we do not concoct. Now, a neophyte Vaishnava or Vaishnava situated on the intermediate platform can also accept disciples, but such disciples must be on the same platform, and it should be understood that they cannot advance very well toward the ultimate goal of life under his insufficient guidance. So now Prabhupada has said we should accept Uttamadikari. So that is his order. Now he's telling, okay, a neophyte Vaishnav and someone, Madhyam Vaishnav, can also accept disciples, but they cannot advance very well toward the ultimate goal of life under his insufficient guidance. What does that mean? Well, bluntly put, that means we are not going back to Krishna under his guidance because it is not sufficient. We need to surrender to the Uttamadikari. Then we will be able to also manifest Krishna Prema. Then Prabhupada said, therefore, a disciple should be careful to accept an Uttamadikari as a spiritual master. So we must seek out an Uttamadikari. Okay, now we shall go. Okay, let me stop sharing this. Now we will start to present a video that we have done, which is called Ridvik, a bona fide system. And we will try to go through it, to some of it, not all of it. But I believe that this is a good platform on which we can start this topic. And we will be commenting upon it as we go. All right. So here it is. Now I will try to see if it is. Okay, so this is Vrindavan, May 28, 1977. This is a conversation that took place. The GBC members asked Srila Prabhupada this question.
Then our next question concerns initiations in the future, particularly at that time when you're no longer with us. We want to know how a first and second initiation would be conducted.
So here they're asking, Sasvarupa Prabhu is asking Srila Prabhupada a very clear question. We want to know how first and second initiation will be conducted when you're no longer here with us.
Yes, I can recommend some of you. After this is settled up, I should recommend some of you to act as officiating acharya.
So Srila Prabhupada said, yes, after this is settled up, they had some matter to finish. I will appoint some of you to act as officiating acharyas. That means one who officiates, one who represents. The word officiating means to act on behalf of, just like the viceroy. The viceroy in days gone by used to represent the king, and he was respected just like the king because he had an empowerment from the king, but he was not the king. If he thinks he's the king, then he's fallen immediately. So someone who represents the acharya, but he's not acharya.
Is that called Ridvik Acharya?
Ridvik, yeah.
So Tamal Krishna Goswami is asking, is that called Ridvik Acharya? Srila Prabhupada says Ridvik. Yes, not the Ridvik Acharya. Then later on, they will go on asking, so what is that relationship with that person? It gets a little bit confusing. And the word disciple of my disciple comes up. Okay, I'm not going to pull it up, but I'm going to tell you this. Disciple of my disciple. So that came up in the conversation. And ISKCON GBC has highlighted this. You see, Srila Prabhupada said they are disciple of my disciples. Now, in ISKM, we are also Shiksha disciple of the disciple of Srila Prabhupada. We are disciple of the disciple of Srila Prabhupada in the sense that we follow the Shiksha or the guidance of His Grace Unagopal Prabhu. So Sunagopal Prabhu is acting as a Ritvik representative or officiating Acharya, and he has his own field of preaching. ISKM is the institution that he started with his own dedication to Prabhupada. By his own spiritual strength, he has created this institution, and we work under him. He is our guru. He is our physical present guru. So we are not against, we're not saying that you don't need a physical guru. No, you need a physical guru. But did you know that Shira, one moment. Did you know that Shira Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he accepted Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj as his Shiksha Guru. So in our Parampara system, we see Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, then we see Gorakishore Das Babaji, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then Jagannath Das Babaji. Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj was the Shiksha Guru of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, yet he is in the Parampara system. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was also the Shiksha Guru of Gorakishore Das Babaji Maharaj, yet he is in the Parampara system. So it is not that the parampara has to continue only through Diksha Gurus. It can also continue to physically present Shiksha Guru. And this is what is going on at the moment. Okay. So now let us continue. So let's say, all right, Prabhupada spoke about the Ritvik system being in place after his departure. And then we have disciple of my disciple. That's all right. But Srila Prabhupada finishes this by saying, when I order you to become Guru, he becomes regular Guru. That's all. So although the GBC members thought that, okay, disciple of disciple, I will be the Guru. But Prabhupada said, no, when I order you to become Guru, you become regular Guru. That's all. So from May 28 onward, all the way to November 14, 1977, there's nowhere where Srila Prabhupada told them that now you can become Guru. And why is that? Because they were not ready yet. It's not that Prabhupada did not want them to be Guru. It's because they were not ready. He did not want them to become Guru prematurely. Okay. So now later on, this is the July 9th letter.
Obeisances at your feet. Recently, when all of the GBC members were with His Divine Grace in Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada indicated that soon he would appoint some of his senior disciples to act as Ritvik, representative of the Acharya.
So this is a July 9th letter. Just now we saw was May 28th, and now it's July 9th. So Prabhupada said, yes, I will be appointing some of you to act as officiating Acharya for initiation after I'm gone. So this is the official appointment here. He's putting it in a letter.
For the purpose of performing initiations, both first initiation and second initiation, His Divine Grace has so far given a list of 11 disciples who will act in that capacity. In the past, temple presidents have written to Srila Prabhupada recommending a particular devotee's initiation. Now that Srila Prabhupada has named these representatives, temple presidents may henceforward send recommendation for first and second initiation to whichever of these 11 representatives are nearest their temple.
So now, from July 9th onward, Srila Prabhupada had absolutely nothing to do for initiation in ISKCON. In other words, a new devotee comes to the temple. Okay, the temple president sees, all right, you're a good devotee, you chant Hare Krishna for 6 months, follow the 4 regulative principle. After 6 months, the temple president will write a recommendation to the nearest of those Ritvik representative. He will say, for example, His Holiness, let's say, Hridayananda Goswami. All right, he's writing to Hridayananda Goswami. Here I have a prospect disciple. Are you accepting him on behalf of Srila Prabhupada? And Hridayananda Goswami has got the empowerment from Prabhupada to accept him without even telling Prabhupada. So Hridayananda Goswami will be giving the spiritual name and chanting on the beads or the Gayatri thread on behalf of Prabhupada. Will send the beads and the name to the temple president. The temple president would perform the fire sacrifice in the temple. And that's it. Prabhupada was completely, let's say, materially disconnected from the process of initiation. And that was from July 9th onward. And in this way, hundreds of devotees got initiated before Srila Prabhupada closed his pastimes on earth. His Grace Sunagopal Prabhu got initiated in this way. He never physically met Srila Prabhupada. So physical presence is not required when it comes to Diksha.
After considering the recommendation, these representatives may accept the devotee as an initiated disciple of Srila Prabhupada by giving a spiritual name, or in the case of second initiation, by chanting on the Gayatri thread, just as Srila Prabhupada has done. The newly initiated devotees are disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the above 11 senior devotees acting as his representative. After the temple president receives a letter from these representatives giving the spiritual name or the thread, he can perform the fire yagya in the temple as was being done before. The name of a newly initiated disciple should be sent by the representative who has accepted him or her to Srila Prabhupada to be included in his Divine Grace Initiated Disciples book. Hoping this finds you all well. Your servant Tamal Krishna Goswami, Secretary to Srila Prabhupada. Approved by Srila Prabhupada.
So as you can see, there is no place in this letter that it says that this system should stop after Srila Prabhupada's departure. So, but they are saying that no, this is until Prabhupada disappears, and right after his disappearance, then they can act as spiritual master. But that is artificial. It's not that immediately after the spiritual master disappears, immediately I become guru. That is an artificial platform. You have to raise yourself to the Uttamadhikari platform. So what they should have done is to keep this system and see who will be emerging the most powerful amongst these Ritvik representatives. And when that Ritvik representative becomes, raise himself to the standard of being Uttama Adhikari, he will be in direct contact with Krishna, and then he will know how to guide the whole movement onwards. You see, but artificially they have said that no, all of you now should become guru. Actually, what they did, they went to see Sridhar Maharaj. So Sridhar Maharaj, for those of you who know, he is one of the godbrother of Srila Prabhupada. So Tamal Krishna Goswami went with some other of the gurus there. They went to see Sridhar Maharaj. And Sridhar Maharaj said, now the 11 of you should learn to become guru. You will put 11 Vyasasan here in Mayapur, and you will all be worshipped and have your own disciples. So it was Sridhar Maharaj's own idea. But that is not what Srila Prabhupada has instructed. And now that we speak of Sridhar Maharaj, we have to go somewhere else. Because Sridhar Maharaj did the exact same mistake with Gaudiya Math. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta never ordered anyone to become guru after his physical departure. Unfortunately, Sridhar Maharaj was responsible for that. So we are going to see now. This is a very important instruction from Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, okay. So here it is. Now I'll be share screen. All right. So here, this is a letter to Tirupati, April 28, 1974. Not to from Tirupati to Rupanuga. So here Prabhupada is saying, okay, I have made big some of the. Okay. So Prabhupada is saying, in the later days of my Guru Maharaj, he was very disgusted. Guru Maharaj means Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Actually, he left this world earlier. Otherwise, he would have continued to live for more years. Still, he requested his disciples to form a strong governing body for preaching the cult of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He never recommended anyone to be Acharya of the Gaudiya Math. But Sridhar Maharaj is responsible for disobeying this order of Guru Maharaj. And he and others who are already dead unnecessarily thought that there must be one Acharya. If Guru Maharaj could have seen someone who was qualified at that time to be Acharya, he would have mentioned. So similarly, if Srila Prabhupada would have seen someone qualified, he would have mentioned. Okay. Because on the night before he passed away, he talked of so many things, but never mentioned an Acharya. So Prabhupada, same thing. He never mentioned who is to be the successor. His idea was talked of so many things, but never mentioned an Acharya. Okay, I've put this in big bold. His idea was Acharya was not to be nominated amongst the governing body. Why am I putting this such big capital letter? Because this is exactly what is taking place in ISKCON. The governing body, the GBC, is nominating who is to act as Acharya or spiritual master. And Prabhupada is saying Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur did not want this. He said openly, you make a GBC and conduct the mission. Srila Prabhupada did the exact same thing. He said openly, you make a GBC and continue. He never said who is to be guru. So his idea was amongst the GBC, members of the GBC, who would come out successful and self-effulgent Acharya. This is important here. Self-effulgent Acharya would be automatically selected. So out of one's own surrender to the spiritual master, one will progress in spiritual life and at one point become perfected. He will reach the stage of Uttamadhikari and then he will be self-effulgent. Self-effulgent is the way that the Acharya are manifested. Narada Muni was never elected by a two-third vote system. Madhavacharya was never elected by a two-third vote system. Srila Vyasadeva. This has never been seen in the history of Vedic culture. So Shidhar Maharaj and his two associate gentlemen unauthorizingly selected one Acharya, and later it proved a failure. The result is now everyone is claiming to be Acharya, even though they may be Kanishta Adhikari with no ability to preach. So I was mentioning this, that he's calling them Kanishta Adhikari. In some of the camps, the Acharya is being changed 3 times a year. Therefore, we may not commit the same mistake in our ISKCON camp. Prabhupada is saying, don't commit the same mistake. What is that mistake? To have the Acharya being nominated amongst the governing body. And this is exactly what is taking place at the moment. So, you see here, Prabhupada is saying in Madhya Lila 24, 330, in the Padma Purana, the characteristic of Guru, the bona fide spiritual master, have been described. The Guru must be situated on the topmost platform of devotional service. There are 3 classes of devotees, and the Guru must be accepted from the topmost class. When one has attained the topmost position of Mahabhagavata, he is to be accepted as Guru and worshipped exactly like Hari, the personality of Godhead. Only such a person is eligible to occupy the post of Guru. Here we have it. Only such a person is eligible to occupy the post of a Guru. Here, this is a letter to Janardana, New York, 26 April 1968. On the whole, you may know that he is not a liberated person, and therefore he cannot initiate any person to Krishna consciousness. He cannot initiate any person. Why is that? Because he's not liberated. A liberated personality means he has attained his Nitya Svarupa. He is liberated from the 3 modes of material nature. It requires special benediction from higher authorities, Srila Prabhupada says. So, this is very clear. So, from this we can understand that Srila Prabhupada could not have authorized disciples that are not on the topmost platform of devotional service to act as spiritual master. Okay, now we would like to continue here. This is His Grace Sunda Gopal Prabhu who is speaking about the same topic. Now, this is concerning Vani. You can hear this.
Master, you just...
Okay, before we see this quote here, I have something important to tell you. This actual quote cannot be found in any Vedabase. They have changed, actually. You might say that it is a mistake. It was not done on purpose, but it seems very unlikely that this was just a mistake. So in the transcript, if you go on Prabhupada books or Vedabase.com or whatever, the transcript is different from the audio that you're going to hear. I had found, when I was editing this video, I had found that specific quote, and I found that it was a good quote. And later on, when I wanted to find the audio and I listened to the audio, I realized that there's a sentence that they actually removed. And that sentence is very important, you will see.
When you feel separation from your spiritual master, you just try to remember his words of instruction. He will not feel separation. He will feel that he is with you. So we should associate by the vibration, not by the physical presence. That is real association.
Okay, so the sentence that was removed is when you feel separation from your spiritual master. That was removed. Actually, because there's in that same class, Srila Prabhupada speaks of Krishna. So it actually sounded like when you feel separation from Krishna, you try to remember his words of instruction. You won't feel separation. But here, Prabhupada is saying from the spiritual master. So you won't feel separation. So this is the Vani principle.
Bani is more important than the Bopu. Bopu will be finished. This is material body. It will be finished. That is the nature. But if we keep to the Bani, to the words, of spiritual master, then we remain very fixed up.
Now, why this is important to understand? Because now in ISKM we follow the Ritvik system of initiation, so our Diksha Guru is not physically present. But Prabhupada is telling us that Vani, the words or the instructions of the spiritual master, are more important than when he's physically here. So therefore, if we remain fixed up to the words of Srila Prabhupada, we can remain very fixed up. It doesn't require him to be physically here. And again, I would like to point out that many disciples, when Prabhupada was physically here, have never even seen him. Some have seen him maybe only once. So there's no requirement for Diksha Guru to be physically present.
We're always feeling your presence very strongly. Simply by your teachings and your instructions. We're always meditating on your instructions.
And that is real present. Physical presence is not important.
So Prabhupada is telling us that real present means meditating on the instructions of the spiritual master, and that physical present is not important. So this is very important, that we must study the books of Srila Prabhupada. In his books, everything is there, and I'm sure that many of you have realized that, by reading Prabhupada books, sometimes we get the exact answer to the question that we were having. And Prabhupada said that he can remain our personal guidance. Let's hear this.
You. So where's the question of having no guidance?
I shall remain your personal guidance, physically present or not. As I am getting personal guidance from my Guru. Even the Guru is not physically present. If you follow the Bani, then you are getting help. Yes, yes. Just like Krishna is guiding us, similarly spiritual master will guide.
So Srila Prabhupada can very well guide us even though he's not physically here. And not only Srila Prabhupada, but also his bona fide representative. Now, okay, we shall try to understand what does Diksha mean. So we will, we will skip this. So just give me one moment. This is an important topic. We should not just try to understand this, and those who are not studying this are not serious. And someone who's not serious concerning this will get cheated. So here we have 3 quotes. So this is the symptom of an acharya. An acharya who comes for the service of the Lord cannot be expected to conform to a stereotype, for he must find the ways and means by which Krishna consciousness may be spread. Because sometimes they say that this Ritvik system of initiation has never been seen in our Parampara system. But Srila Prabhupada is an acharya. He can do whatever he wants in order to bring back the conditioned soul back to Krishna, and Krishna will accept that. Okay, second quote is from Adi 737 purport. Every acharya has a specific means of propagating his spiritual movement with the aim of bringing men to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, the method of one acharya may be different from that of another, but the ultimate goal is never neglected. So surely to put the Ritvik system of initiation after his physical departure can be seen as something new. But Prabhupada is saying, yes, some method can be different than another. As Hari is free to act as he likes, the empowered spiritual master is also free. As Hari is not subject to mundane rules and regulations, the spiritual master empowered by him is also not subject. Because sometimes they say, well, Srila Prabhupada will not do something which is against Sastra. And they're saying that this Ritvik system is against Sastra. First of all, that means that you're analyzing the situation in accordance with your understanding of Shastra. Because you're thinking, I understand Shastra, therefore I can condemn this Ritvik system because my understanding of Shastra is my definition on how I have to judge something. But no, we have to understand Shastra through Srila Prabhupada. That is Parampara system. Prabhupada said that even you have read something, some books or anything, you must understand it through me. That is Parampara system. So Srila Prabhupada, if he says yes, Ritvik system, yes, Ritvik system. If he says no Ritvik system, then no Ritvik system. And as we can see, he has given a clear document. Whereas there's absolutely no proof written, spoken, or even in his books that will authorize an ecclesiastical body to vote in a guru. There's absolutely nowhere where this can be found. We continue here. Yes, so this is an important verse. Okay, here is another proof.
Will, everything shows.
In Prabhupada's Declaration of Will, point 3, there is a statement concerning the directors designated to manage the properties in India. In the event of death or failure to act for any reason of any of the said directors, a successor director or directors may be appointed by the remaining directors, provided the new director is my initiated disciple, following strictly all the rules.
So you see here, this is concerning the management of the properties in India. So Srila Prabhupada is saying, yes, you can, replace a director, provided he's my initiated disciple. He did not say my disciple. That could have been just a Shiksha disciple, just like everyone in ISKCON. He did not say an initiated disciple. That could have been an initiated disciple of his disciple. He said my initiated disciple. That means my Diksha disciple. Okay, now listen to this.
While Prabhupada was reading the draft of his will prepared by Giriraj Swami, he ordered that the word "an" be changed to "my initiated disciple."
Actually, it's not Prabhupada who was reading the draft. It was Giriraj Swami who was reading the draft to Prabhupada. And then Srila Prabhupada, you can hear when he reads the draft, it's a recorded conversation. Giriraj Swami uses the word "an." He says, "an initiated disciple." But later, in the will, we see that it's been changed to "my." That means this has been a conscious change by Srila Prabhupada. So this cannot continue unless the Ritvik system of initiation is there, because all the disciples who were initiated by Prabhupada during his physical presence will have left their body in, let's say, 50 years from now, or even 40 years. So then how will this instruction of Prabhupada continue? So they're not following that. They do not understand that this is an indication that the disciples in ISKCON have all to be Diksha disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, so this we have shown that only Mahabhagavata can be Diksha Guru. Okay, so Prabhupada is telling us very clearly that a self-made Guru cannot be Guru. You cannot overdo your spiritual master's order.
When you speak about grand disciple, you even speak in the more futuristic stand of, I'm ordering you. When is the order?
A self-made Guru cannot be Guru. He must be authorized by the bona fide Guru, then he is Guru.
A guru can become guru when he is ordered by his guru. That's all.
Why this Gauri was fed? They wanted to create artificially somebody like that, and everything failed. They did not consider, even with common sense, that if Guru Maharaj wanted to appoint somebody as Acharya, why did he not say? He said so many things. This point is the real point.
So we can say exact the same thing, the real point. Prabhupada said so many things. If he wanted to appoint someone to be a spiritual master in ISKCON, why he did not say? Why he did not say? Why he missed that point, the real point? You cannot find on record anywhere where Prabhupada is authorizing them to become guru. They must be, first of all, pure devotees, and they must get the authorization of Prabhupada, these two things. Srila Jiva Goswami is a pure devotee. He never initiated anyone. He acted as Shiksha Guru of many devotees, but he never appointed anyone. He never initiated anyone. So it's not that just being a pure devotee is enough. You need the authorization of your spiritual master also. Okay, now we might say, they often say that, okay, you're telling that Srila Prabhupada cannot produce one Uttamadhikari. You're saying that Prabhupada has got no potency. That is one of the arguments. First of all, we are saying that Prabhupada has not finished to preach. His books are here. When we are reading Prabhupada books, what are we reading? We're in contact with paper only? No, we're in contact with Prabhupada. In other words, Prabhupada is still preaching, and he will continue to do so as long as his books are here. As long as Prabhupada books are propagated and distributed on the planet, Prabhupada is preaching on a large scale, and he will be making many Uttamadhikari. So you cannot say that Prabhupada has not That is a material concept, that Prabhupada is no longer here, and therefore he cannot create any more devotees. So you're saying he has failed. That is material. Prabhupada clearly said that Vani is the real substance. If we stick to the Vani, then we are fixed up. He said Vani is more important than Vapu. So if you stress that Vapu is not here anymore, what Prabhupada has done? Well, Prabhupada says Vani is more important than his Vapu. So he's even more powerful now. In fact, he's more powerful now than when he was, because his books are more spread everywhere. He's been translating in more languages than when he was physically present, and so on. So that is not a very good argument. And second thing is that it is not up to Prabhupada to make you Uttamadhikari. Prabhupada can guide you. He can give you everything, all the tools. And if you follow 100%, there's no doubt you become Uttamadhikari. But if you follow 50%, you won't make it. How can you bring Prabhupada for your own hiccup?
Person, whether you are a first-class devotee.
So far designation is concerned, the spiritual master authorizes every one of his disciples. Yeah. But it is up to the disciple to carry out the order.
So Prabhupada is saying, yes, the spiritual master authorizes anyone. It's not that he's saying you cannot become Diksha Guru. No. If you can make it, yes, I authorize you. But it is up to the disciple to carry out the order. Now,
he wants that each and every one of his disciples become as powerful as he is, or more than that. That is his desire. Just like father wants every son to be as qualified or more qualified than the father. But it is up to the student, up to the son, to raise himself to that standard.
So if a disciple is not qualified, the spiritual master can say, no, you're not ready yet. He can do that. The polite way to say that is that, yes, I shall appoint some of you in the future. And Prabhupada often said that. Yes, I want you to become Diksha Guru, So he's politely saying, you're not ready yet. So this premature attempt of becoming Diksha Guru is not good. Okay, so Prabhupada, many cases he showed that, yes, he wants them to become Diksha Guru. But then here, Prabhupada is saying something to Tamal Krishna, we can see. Tamal Krishna.
And conduct the mission.
Okay, listen.
Well, I've studied myself and all of your disciples, and it's clear fact that we're all conditioned souls, so we cannot be guru.
So Tamal Krishna Goswami is saying, I'm studying myself, all your disciples, it's a clear fact, we're all conditioned souls. We cannot be guru. So he understands that. We're conditioned soul. Conditioned soul cannot be guru. So he's saying that he's understanding there, at least. So this is April 22nd. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So 7 months before Srila Prabhupada departed. 7 months before, Tamal Krishna Goswami is saying, yes, we're all conditioned soul, we cannot be guru. So how come is it that 7 months later, when Prabhupada disappears, 11 of them become guru? What, in 7 months, 11 of them have become Uttamadhikari? And Prabhupada is saying, listen.
Maybe one day it may be possible, but not now.
Yes. I can do it. Now do it. I can say, now you become a.
So you've seen how Prabhupada has agreed with him. He said, yes. Basically, he's saying, yes, you're not already. And then he said, I shall choose. So in the future, now I shall say, now you become Acharya, you become authorized. Where is this? Where have we found Prabhupada saying, now you can become Acharya? It is not found anywhere. In other words, they were not ready. Until Prabhupada left the planet, none of them had reached the standard of a liberated soul.
I am waiting for you to become all Acharya.
I'm waiting. So Prabhupada wanted that. He wanted them to become pure devotee, but none of them made it. So, okay, now I shall remove this. Okay, now we will be going through some of the notes that I have concerning this topic. Some of the different topics are a bit up and down, but I would like to go through some of them because there's a lot of content that I have stored in notes, and it would be nice that we can go through some of it together. Okay, so here I've shown that. Let me open this. All right, so I've shown that in the previous class, I believe, but listen to this. So this is from Bhakti Sandarpa. One should not accept a spiritual master based on hereditary, social, or ecclesiastical convention. Such a professional guru should be rejected. One must accept a qualified spiritual master who can help one advance towards the ultimate goal of life, Krishna Prema. Again, so ecclesiastical convention, that means he is guru because he's been appointed there, or ecclesiastical, right? What is the definition? Priestly, ministerial, clerical, okay, relating to Christian church or its clergy, ecclesiastical hierarchy. So it is basically a rubber stamping, and it's not based on quality. Right? It's not based on the actual quality and work of the individual, but more as he's a priest, therefore you must accept him as a priest. It is a word that can very much be used with the caste brahmanas of India. You're a brahmana because you're born brahmana and you have the sacred thread. That's all. And then who can help one advance towards the ultimate of goal, Krishna Prema. So Krishna Prema cannot be attained unless one is on the highest platform of devotional service. This is seen here. We have shown that also, I believe, last class. So unless one is an Uttamadikari, you cannot get Krishna Prema. You see, this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2, Text 18. Thereafter, accompanied by plenary expansions, the fully opulent Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all auspicious for the entire universe, was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki. Devaki, having been thus initiated by Vasudeva, became beautiful by carrying Lord Krishna. So this is the Lord's appearance, the original consciousness for everyone, the cause of all causes, within the core of her heart, just as the east becomes beautiful by carrying the rising moon. So this is initiation. Vasudeva was carrying Lord Krishna within his heart. In other words, he was fully realized of his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord and pure love of God. And thus he had prema within his heart. And he transferred the Supreme Lord to the heart of Devaki. So this is the meaning of initiation, to transfer Krishna from the heart of the spiritual master to the heart of disciple. Now, Prabhupada says, as indicated here by the word Manastaha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was transferred from the core of Vasudeva's mind or heart to the core of the heart of Devaki. We should note carefully that the Lord was transferred to Devaki not by ordinary way for a human being, but by Diksha, initiation. Thus, the importance of initiation is mentioned here. Unless one is initiated by the right person who always carries within his heart the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot acquire the power to carry the Supreme Personality of Godhead within the core of one's own heart. So if we don't take Diksha from the proper person, who is a Uttamadikari, we won't make it. We cannot. And that is corroborated. Prabhupada said, if you take initiation from a neophyte or Madhyamadikari, you have insufficient guidance. Is it not? And here, this quote here says, who can help one advance towards Krishna Prema. So that means Uttamadikari. Okay. Now, Prabhupada in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 1, text 35, he says, it is imperative that a serious person accept a bona fide spiritual master in terms of Shastric injunctions. So we have been showing Shastra. Shastra says, Uttamadikari. Shri Jiva Goswami advises that one not accept a spiritual master in terms of hereditary, father of the father of the father, or I mean to say, son of the son of the son, or customary social and ecclesiastical conventions. One should simply try to find a generally qualified spiritual master for actual advancement in spiritual understanding. So this is our duty. Disciple must learn what is the standard of a pure devotee, and he must seek out one. And this is the GBC. Okay, this is 409, resolution 409. This is the official GBC ISKCON.org. Okay. So this is the resolution that were passed in 2004. So if we go to the 409 resolution here, continuing the disciplic succession, they say. In other words, having some physically present Diksha Guru. That's their meaning. Even though he might not be a Uttamadikari. So their understanding of continuing the disciplic succession is that there must be a physically present Diksha Guru. But we have seen Bhaktivinoda Thakur was not, his Diksha Guru was not a pure devotee. So therefore, he took guidance from a Shiksha Guru, pure devotee. And Gorakishore Das Babaji also, he was not initiated by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And then again, that Prabhupada was not physically next to each and every one disciples. Some of the disciples he never met even. Okay. Now, in that resolution here, Srila Prabhupada consistently said that his disciples would themselves become spiritual masters. Where did he say that? Yes, he said, I want you to become guru. That is a desire that Srila Prabhupada was expressing. It's not that he's giving his authorization. He's simply saying, I want you to become guru. You must raise yourself to that standard. We have seen that. So Prabhupada did not say you will become Diksha Guru automatically once I disappear. No, you will become Diksha Guru when you become qualified. So a desire and an order are two different things. Just like a man wants his son to fly a big 727 Boeing, right? He's a pilot. He wants his son. I want you to become an airplane pilot. I want you. Now, if the nonsense son says, okay, he wants me, I have to go now, and he's 10-year-old and he crashes the plane, he will kill himself and all the passengers. Therefore, the desire is not the same as the order. I want you to become in that standard, but if you try it before that, without my order, you will crash the plane. And it's the same thing in spiritual life. If you become guru without the authorization of the spiritual master, without the qualification, you will crash and you will bring your disciples with you. So, and then here they say, as a matter of utmost ecclesiastical responsibility, the very word that Prabhupada is saying that we should not accept a guru with is being used here. ISKCON's ultimate managing authority, the GBC, regulates who within ISKCON may perform the service of initiating disciples. This is called an oxymoron. Means in the same sentence, there's two opposing elements. ISKCON ultimate managing authority. Management means you must continue what the boss has said. Just like a manager cannot create new things. He must follow the order of the CEO. Okay. And then here, the GBC regulates who within ISKCON may perform the service of initiating disciples. Where has Prabhupada given you the order to do that? In fact, we find so many places where Prabhupada does not want that. Just like what we've read. He said that Bhaktisiddhanta did not want the GBC to elect the Acharya. So we have this hint. There are other places also. Self-effulgent Acharya. Where did it say that the GBC will regulate who becomes the next Diksha Guru? It is nowhere to be found. When a GBC allows a devotee to take up the service of initiating, it does not thereby endorse him as an Uttamadhikari. It doesn't endorse him or pure devotee, or certify his having achieved any specific state of realization. So the GBC is appointing gurus, and they're saying, we don't say he's a Uttama, we don't say he's a Madhyam, we don't even say he might be a devotee, because here it says, any specific state of realization, any. A Kanishta Adhikari also has got some specific state of realization, but here they tell you any. So basically, if they appoint even, let's say a murderer or what, of course my example is, but it's a fact. Here it is said, having achieved any specific state of realization. Rather, the GBC indicates that it has no objection to his initiating disciples within ISKCON. Why don't you have any objection? Just here, you say you're the ultimate managing authority. So you should apply the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, that is called management. And Prabhupada is telling you that only Uttama Adhikari can be devotee. We have read, only such a person is qualified to become a Diksha Guru. Mahabhagavata, he's saying. But here you're saying you have no objection. Why don't you have any objection? You should have objection. Each prospective disciple before initiation should become familiar with the qualifications mentioned in Srila Prabhupada's books as those that the spiritual master ought to have, and decide for himself which senior devotee, if any, to approach for initiation. So they're asking the disciples to become acquainted with it, but they themselves are not acquainted with it. Within this context, the choice to whom to select as one spiritual master is ultimately the prospective disciple's own responsibility. In other words, they are putting some conditioned souls as Diksha Guru. When you surrender to one of them and you realize that he falls down or whatever happens, it is not the GPC's fault. It is your fault. And then all other devotees will ostracize you from the community, saying that, well, you wanted to be cheated, so Krishna sent you a cheater. In other words, it's all your fault. Even though we cheated you, you were cheated. It's you only, and we have nothing to do. They're washing their hands with that GBC resolution. Okay. Now, Okay, here, this is an important, again, concerning committee electing guru. This is in a conversation, morning walk, October 1972 in Los Angeles. So we have Svarupa Damodar, who is saying, he's actually speaking of a conversation that he had with some, I believe, a scientist or what. How do you know that guru is qualified, spiritual master is qualified? That's what the other person asked. Then I said, everything is written in the Shastras. So we have to follow according to the injunctions written in the Shastras. So all the qualifications of a pure devotee, of a bona fide guru, is written there. Just like you are a professor of physics in the university. Before you came, you had some qualification, degree or of doctors. And then there's a committee to decide you whether you are qualified for the post. So it is selected by a committee of members, and then they interview, and then they find out your qualifications. So see here, he's giving the example that, it's a committee who says that you're qualified or not. But mind you, he's speaking about, recognizing who's a bona fide guru. So he's giving this example here. If they find that you are qualified for the post, you are selected as a professor. It's like that in spiritual field also. He's saying like this, that, committee is telling you there are revealed scriptures, and then everything is written that will be the qualification of a guru, and then how to choose a bona fide one. So everything is written. You should follow the injunctions of the revealed scriptures accordingly. So it's not a very good example that he's giving, because he's comparing the revealed scriptures with a committee that is saying whether you're qualified or not. And look what Prabhupada says. Prabhupada says, committee is his spiritual master. He orders that you do this. So immediately Prabhupada pushes away that nonsense example of committee electing gurus. He says, committee is his spiritual master. He orders that you do this. So again, we have shown that Prabhupada does not like this idea of a committee electing gurus. Okay, now classes, Vrindavan. The Goswamis practiced this Madhupuri in Vrindavan. They lived, but they would take little only from the house. This is called Bahudaka. Then when he has practiced more, he travels all over the world, Parivraka Chacharya. And when he's fully experienced then in spiritual life and everything, then he is Paramahamsa. So one must find out a guru who is Paramahamsa. Neither Kutichaka or Bahudaka, Parivraka Chacharya, Paramahamsa. So these are the 4 stages of sannyas life. And Prabhupada is telling us that we must find the topmost, a Paramahamsa. So where in any of Prabhupada's teachings, it says, no, you must find out the Madhyamadikari or Kanishtadikari. Okay, this is another quote, 1975. It is now evident that some of our top men are very much ambitious, and there has been so many fall downs. So Prabhupada gave us some evidence, even as early as 1975, some men are ambitious. What does that mean? Ambition? Yeah, I want to be, enjoying the post of being glorified and this and that. Okay, so this we have seen again. This is the quote from the Padma Purana, that when one has attained the topmost position of Mahabhagavata, he's to be accepted as guru and worshipped like Hari. So only such a person is eligible to occupy the post of a guru. So now, okay. Excuse me one moment. Okay, get your pillow. Sorry, my son needs to get his pillow. He's going to bed. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. Very well. So this we have seen also. Okay. He never mentioned anyone to be an acharya. Bhaktisiddhanta was not to be nominated amongst the governing body. This is what's happening now. Self-effulgent acharya. It proved a failure. Yes, and it's proving a failure. Therefore, we may not commit the same mistake in our Islam camp. And then, okay, we continue here. In the other quote, I had cut it here. But actually, amongst my god brothers, no one is qualified to become acharya. Srila Prabhupada is saying. So better not mix with them. So why did they go see Sridhar Maharaj after Srila Prabhupada's disappearance? Prabhupada is ordering not to mix with them, but Tamal Krishna Goswami, he's responsible for that. He went to see Sridhar Maharaj, He brought Sridhar Maharaj in. Actually, Gaudiya Math, nobody knew Gaudiya Math. In the whole world, nobody knew for them. They became a little bit famous because of Prabhupada. Okay, so here we have, a few quotes concerning bogus gurus. So Shastra is warning us. Why is Shastra warning us? because that means this thing happens. Shastra will cover all angle of the philosophy. So it's going to tell us also that be careful. There are some people outside there that are going to cheat you. So this is something that exists. It's not that it's not there. It's there. It was there in the past. It's there now, and it will increase. Kali Yuga means more and more such people. So we have to be careful. So Shastra is telling us, be careful. You need to understand who is who. One who accepts disciples for personal service and fame is unfit to be guru. So we have to try to recognize who is doing that. Many gurus in ISKCON, they never go see a disciple who has no money. They go see disciples who've got money. Oh, this guy's going to give me a big donation if I go to his house. I would go. But this man will never, I don't care. Prabhupada was never like that. Many gurus take advantage of their disciples and plunder them. They exploit the disciples for sex and use them to amass wealth. But a guru, Sadguru, who can remove the miseries of his disciples is very rare. So some guru, they exploit their disciples for sex. And we have seen one sannyasi recently who's in charge of the Mayapur and Gurukula. We know that he was having sex with some young girls for many, many years. They exploited that poor Mataji. When she was young, she was actually trafficked. They sold her. And many of the big leaders in ISKCON had some illicit sex with her, were basically raping her. She's speaking out. And this is not only one. There's so many children of the Gurukula who are speaking out and have experienced the same thing. Many young girls in the beginning, after Prabhupada departed, they were used for sexual exploitation by some of the top leaders in ISKCON. Now, okay, these are some of the injunctions to abandon such a guru. Okay. Now let us see. Okay, we have many things here. Okay, important conversations, but this class cannot be 5 hours long. So, okay, here we can read this. Shri Prabhupada, I'm just trying to clarify. I don't want to offend anyone, but no disciples of yours call himself Diksha Guru or Shiksha Guru. Am I right? Gopal Krishna Goswami is asking this. Prabhupada. Well, everyone is engaged to become Shiksha Guru. Prabhupada is especially pointing out Shiksha Guru. But one should become perfect. You see, even to become Shiksha Guru, Prabhupada is saying we should become perfect. The attempt is what is called probationer. When probationer period is finished, then he is naturally, automatically bona fide Guru. Not in the probationer period. That is immature attempt. That will be a failure. Amara Agyana. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, by my order. So all my disciples are expected to become Shiksha Guru on my order, not by his own order. You see, he's pointing out Shiksha Guru especially, not Diksha Guru. And he's saying on my order. So if the order has to be there for being a Shiksha Guru, then what to speak of a Diksha Guru? That is meaning I'm giving sannyas. I'm sending you to different places. So this means that you have to carry out the order of the Guru very strictly. Then you become mature. Otherwise, it will be artificial attempt. And that kind of Guru will not help. Just like there are so many Gurus and avatars and yogis are coming. So an artificially rubber stamping that this is a Guru, that is not the way. It has to be shown by the activities. What activity? Srila Prabhupada, Uttamadhikari, he went without any single fame or penny or anything to New York. He did not have the back of Gaudiya Math. He went there, and yes, he did it. Tens of thousands of disciples, hundreds of temples, world famous. Hare Krishna was a household word. Everybody knew us. That is the power of an Uttamadhikari. Now you go to New York City, you ask them, do you know the Hare Krishna? I said, the Hare who? They won't know. Why? ISKCON outside of India is dwindling everywhere. Temples are being sold left and right. Nobody is going to Mangalarti. The Hindus community are maintaining the temple only. They're not going on street Sankirtan and trying to distribute so many books. Of course, some places it's happening. But if you see the power that when Prabhupada was physically there, as to now, we can understand it is a spinning fan that has been unplugged. It is slowing down and slowing down and slowing down because power is not there anymore. One Uttamadhikari, Prabhupada, what did he do? If you've seen the movies, the clips of his Rath Yatra festival when he was physically present, tens of thousands of people, full, hundreds of brahmacharis, all of this, the power was just so intense. The Sankirtan in those days was unstoppable. They were selling, worldwide, tens of thousands of books, if not hundreds of thousands of books daily. Mad Sankirtan. So now it has diminished so much. In India, of course, it's dead. So if I take the fame of ISKCON and I say, yes, I'm Guru, I'm famous just because of Prabhupada's work. If I get out of ISKCON and try to do it on my own, it would be very hard. In fact, some disciples did do that. The disciples of Prabhupada, they left ISKCON and they tried to become spiritual master on their own. They're better than those who are trying to become spiritual master in ISKCON without authorization, because at least they're leaving ISKCON. So here again, the GBC should all be instructor gurus. I'm the initiator guru, and you should be the instructor guru by teaching what I'm teaching and doing what I'm doing. This is not a title, but you must actually come to this platform. This I want. So Prabhupada again is stressing instructor gurus, Shiksha Guru. So GBC should be Shiksha Guru, and Prabhupada is the initiator guru. Okay, so yes, so okay, this is actually the verse of one of the quote. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, both the Supreme Personality of Godhead and my spiritual master, Ishvara Puri, are completely independent. Therefore, neither the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead nor that of Ishvara Puri is subject to any Vedic rules or regulations. So if Prabhupada wants to introduce this Ritvic system in order to spread his mercy even beyond his physical presence, spread his Diksha initiation system, he can do so. There's no rules and regulations that apply to him. This is from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, from his Madhurya Kadambini. So the same point is stressed here. Only those saintly persons who are the crest jewels among Mahabhagavatas are independent and fully qualified to bestow mercy for a reason that is unknown, or even without any reason at all. In this regard, no rules and regulations of any kind, nor any limit or boundary can be applied to them. So if you're saying Prabhupada cannot do this, cannot do the Ritvic system of initiation, you're trying to limit Srila Prabhupada's mercy, limit his boundaries of action. But here it is said, no, the crest jewels among Mahabhagavata, he can spread his mercy for no reason at all, even if he wants. So we cannot say that Prabhupada cannot introduce this system. He is very much empowered to do so. Okay, this is a verse from the 11th canto, 10th chapter, text 12. The spiritual master can be compared to the lower kindling stick, the disciple to the upper kindling stick, and the instruction given by the guru to the third stick placed in between. The transcendental knowledge communicated from guru to disciple is compared to the fire arising from the contact of these, which burns the darkness of ignorance to ashes, bringing great happiness both to guru and disciple. So there's a picture that I'll show you concerning this that will help us understand what this verse is about. So we see here, because we're speaking of sticks, right? So this is how they used to spark fires before, with the friction of wood. In this way it increases. And okay, I don't know if I can find it here. Is it there in the beginning? One moment. No. So okay, I will just show it for now. So this is how it is, one stick here, and one stick in between. Okay, so I press the stick like that, and then I make it spin like this. Okay, so by the friction, the fire is going to spark on the lower stick here. So the spiritual master is the stick above. The disciple is the stick below. They don't touch. There's no physical contact. The contact is made by the stick in between. And what is that stick? The instructions of the spiritual master. In other words, to be in touch with the spiritual master means to be in touch with the instructions. There's no physical contact needed. It's not that the spiritual master has to touch, or he has to be right in front of him. So you see, you have to understand that we are still in touch with Srila Prabhupada. Now, because we are conditioned soul, because we are very much contaminated, it is hard to realize. it is hard to realize that Srila Prabhupada is speaking to us directly, that is right in front of us. And therefore, the Vapu has a very strong influence on us. The disciples that were there in the beginning when Prabhupada was physically there. Very strong influence. And it's not that the Vapu is not powerful. It is powerful. Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Avidya Vina. The Prema Bhakti is emanating. So many times in the memories of Prabhupada, following Srila Prabhupada, you can hear the disciples are saying, Prabhupada lifted his hand and boom, we felt like a surge of electricity, like love, just exploding. So the Prema Bhakti is emanating from his heart, and the disciples that are near him, they can feel it. Many disciples, they said, I felt Prabhupada before seeing him. Prabhupada was coming somehow and they were like not looking and they felt, goosebumps in their back, and they turned around and they saw Prabhupada. So yes, the Vapu is so powerful, no doubt. But Prabhupada tells us we should not stress on that, because if we stress on this, when the Vapu disappears, then we become clumsy. Because where's the Vapu? Where's Prabhupada? Where's Prabhupada? But no, the Prabhupada is still there. When it comes to spiritual topics, the restrictions of time and space do not apply. And therefore, you cannot say Prabhupada was there 50 years ago, not now. No, he's still here. Or Prabhupada is on another planet preaching, or he's in Vaikuntha. No, distance has nothing to do with spiritual understanding. So, because we are not so purified, therefore we must accept a physical guru that will guide us. And that is called Shiksha Guru. So we are not, as some so-called Ritvik devotees say, that there's no need of physical guru. You can go on your own. Prabhupada never spoke like this in his books. He always stressed the association of devotees. What does associating of devotees means? It is given by Srila Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Instructions. He clearly says that we must take guidance from the senior devotees. We should serve them. We must develop friendship with those who are our equals, and we should be merciful to the neophytes, try to engage them, in service and so on. So this is what it means. So that means we must take guidance. Devotee association you work under some authority. Therefore, GBC was there. Temple president was there. What is a temple president? He's a Shiksha Guru. If he's not a Shiksha Guru, how he can be temple president? The same thing for the GBC. So therefore, we must also have a physically present Shiksha Guru. And this is how the Parampara system is continuing at the moment. Okay, we go back to these notes. So here, okay, this is an interview, Newsweek, July 14, 1976, New York. The interviewer is saying, I was wondering if he had a successor to do. Do you have a successor to take your place when you die? Not yet settled up. Not yet settled up, Prabhupada is saying. Now, you see, this is very important because July 14, okay, no, this is 1976. It's before. Anyway, so what process with the Hare Krishnas? We have got secretaries. They are managing. He has appointed from all the disciples a group of secretaries. Each one is in charge of a different sector of the world. How many secretaries? Presently, there's 18. And so that group of 18 secretaries will choose another leader. I'm training each of them as leader so that they can spread extensively. That is my idea. So Prabhupada is trying to train all of them to become leaders, but that doesn't mean Diksha Guru. We have seen Prabhupada was stressing on becoming Shiksha Guru and continuing the preaching. Because if you remember the quote that we've shown, okay, I know there's a lot of quotes and all, but try to follow. This is important. When Prabhupada was speaking of Sridhar Maharaj, that quote, okay, or if Guru Maharaj could have seen someone at the time, he would have mentioned, okay. But Sridhar Maharaj unnecessarily thought that there must be one Acharya, unnecessarily. That is very, I've thought about that a lot. Unnecessarily, that means there was no need to have a physically present acting Acharya at that time. Then what do? Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati disappears. Srila Prabhupada became self-manifest 30 years later. Prabhupada manifested his pastimes as an Acharya 30 years later. That means you have a 30 years gap without physically present Acharya in our Sampradaya. What do? That means Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati's teachings were there. Krishna as the Paramatma is always there doing the whole process. This whole Diksha process, this whole going back to Godhead is always managed by the Lord. So that means that he will have brought those disciples to the teachings of Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur. And Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur did not give a Ritvik system of initiation, so you just read his books and you go on. and you get some guidance from some physically present Shiksha Guru, that's all. And in this way. But Prabhupada's is different because he actually gave a system where the Diksha, the official Diksha ceremony can be carried out. So it's different from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So you see, so Prabhupada is saying, Sridhar Maharaj unnecessarily thought that there must be one physically present Diksha Guru. And it's the same thing with the GBC. They unnecessarily think that there must be a physically present Diksha Guru, even though he's a Kanishta Adhikari or Madhyama Adhikari. He must continue. You must have a physically present person, That is not according to Prabhupada's instructions. Okay. So that we have seen. Yes, so exactly what I've said now, this is confirmed here by Charan Das at that time, Shri Gaudiya Math in Bombay. That was in February 1936. It was the appearance anniversary of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So Prabhupada was giving a speech, as any bona fide disciple should do, and this is what he's saying. To receive the transcendental knowledge, we must completely surrender ourselves to the real Acharya in a spirit of ardent inquiry and service. Actual performance of service to the Absolute under the guidance of the Acharya is the only vehicle by which we can assimilate the transcendental knowledge. So Prabhupada is saying that if we serve the Acharya, we can assimilate transcendental knowledge. And that is the substance of Diksha, to assimilate transcendental knowledge all the way to realize Krishna's to Bhagavan Svayam. So that transcendental knowledge will become personal at one point. We realize Krishna, Krishna said to Mara, Krishna dite paro. You have Krishna, you can give him to me. So transcendental knowledge begins by understanding without the body, understanding super soul is with us, and in this way, and at one point we realize Bhagavan. Okay. We have seen that in the 10-18, right? Today's meeting for offering our humble service and homage to the feet of the Acharya Dev will enable us to be favored with the capacity of assimilating the transcendental knowledge so kindly transmitted by him to all persons without distinction. So Prabhupada is telling us that even though Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is not there, simply by glorifying him, right, offering our humble homage to his feet, will enable us to be favored with the capacity to assimilate the transcendental knowledge. So it doesn't require the Acharya to be physically here. We can still follow in his footsteps. So that means after Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur disappeared, bona fide disciples would just simply read his books and go on with him. And that's it. That is their initiation. Now, okay. Okay, this is an important quote here. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 9, Text 43. This is in the purport. One who is now the disciple is the next spiritual master. Okay, this they like to quote. They say, you see, we have to become the spiritual master because we are now the disciple. Generally, they quote only this one sentence. But let's continue reading. And one cannot be a bona fide and authorized spiritual master unless one has been strictly obedient to his spiritual master. So obedience is the rule. If you're fully obedient, then yes, you become the next spiritual master. But Prabhupada is not saying exactly Diksha Guru. It can very much mean Shiksha Guru also. There should be no such discrimination because must be Diksha. No, why not Shiksha? So therefore, the so-called formal spiritual master and disciple are not facsimiles of Brahma and Narada. Formal, what is this formality? Here's the bona fide Diksha Guru. We have ecclesiastically appointed him. You must take Diksha from him. You must hear this. All these are formalities. It's not the actual substance of Diksha. Am I sharing? Okay. Or Narada and Vyas. The relationship between Brahma and Narada is reality, while the so-called formality is the relationship between the cheater and the cheated. So they are all about formality. We need a physically present Diksha Guru. Why is that? Because he has to be physically present. This is a formality only. It's not the actual substance. Okay. Here Prabhupada says, without becoming a Goswami, one can become neither a disciple nor a spiritual master. So just see, this is a standard of being a disciple. You have to be Goswami. So they like to quote that, one who is not the disciple is the next spiritual master, but they don't quote that you have to be a Goswami to be a bona fide disciple. Okay. Okay. Yes, okay. Yes. Okay. Here, some people came to see Prabhupada. Some people from the Hindu community came to see Prabhupada. They wanted to, interfere in Prabhupada's affair after his physical departure. So Brahmananda is saying they wanted an Indian to be the leader. Prabhupada said, yes. Everyone, all my disciples, they are leaders. As purely as they follow, they become leader. If you want to follow, you can become leader. You are Indian, but you don't want. I told them. Yes, they probably wanted to propose somebody who could take over our movement. Yes, leaders. All nonsense. Leader means one who has become first-class disciple. He's leader. So that's it. He must be first-class disciple. First-class disciple cannot disobey the order of the spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada did not think that, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur has disappeared. Now let me act. Let me act as a guru. He did not think, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur is gone. Now I can start initiating. He did not do like that. First of all, he waited to become qualified, because actually even the pure devotee who descends from Vaikuntha, he goes through the process again. It's not that he immediately is here and everything is realized in his heart and everything. No. Does that mean he's conditioned? No, because the whole life of a pure devotee is completely 100% controlled by Krishna. So even though he appears to be bewildered, that is done by Krishna. Just like Arjuna, just like Brahma, just like Lord Shiva. They are bewildered by the internal potency of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada in his Grihastha ashram, his so-called bewilderments, and this is all done by Krishna's internal potency. Okay, so he's never under the jurisdiction of the three modes, whereas us, we are, and we can fall down. Prabhupada cannot fall down because Krishna is always protecting him. Maya, Krishna's Maya, will never touch Prabhupada. That is Krishna's protection for his pure devotee. So Prabhupada also goes through the process. In other words, Prabhupada also became self-realized at one point. Is it that he's never? No, it's not that he's not self-realized, but just like Arjuna was bewildered, it was not acting. Arjuna was not acting, he was actually bewildered. He was actually in the bodily concept of life, but that was enforced by Krishna. So therefore, Prabhupada writes in the purport that sometimes the impediment of spiritual advancement is done by Krishna directly. Just like Jai and Vijay, they fell from the spiritual world. That is an impediment. They became demons. It's not that they were acting as demons. They were actually thinking to kill Krishna, really, sincere desire. I want to kill Krishna. Why? Krishna wanted that. So similarly, a pure devotee can also forget. He can also lose his Krishna prema within the material world, so that Krishna uses him as a beacon of light so that we can understand how to progress from Grihastha ashram and so on and become detached, vanaprastha, and in this way reach the topmost position of Mahabhagavata. So he used Srila Prabhupada to give us a perfect example of that. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada waited until he regained his complete, full Krishna consciousness, to be completely in pure love of God, to act as a spiritual master. He waited that. He did not, as soon as Bhaktisiddhanta disappeared, I must do it, And he knew that all his god brothers were Kanishta Adhikari. So he did not think that, okay, now all of them are Kanishta Adhikari, there's no physically present Diksha Guru, let me act as Diksha Guru now. No, there was no artificial way of becoming Diksha Guru. Okay. I think this is what I'm speaking about. This is from the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. It's speaking about the Vaikuntha Vasis who come down, and they come down sometimes as instructing spiritual masters. Anyway, so okay, let's see if we can go through this. Okay, this is about receiving knowledge. Transcendental knowledge means really being connected to the cyclic succession. This is Prabhupada saying that yes, he wants them to have their own disciples, So it's not that he did not want them to become perfect and become Diksha Guru. He wanted that. Okay. Okay. So all of this, I'm not going to get too much into this here. All right. So we've done this one. We have another that we will go. So I hope you're still with me. All of those who are still with me from the beginning to now, you're very serious in trying to understand that. And that's a key to know who is genuine and who is not. Because there are disciples who are not actually genuine. They want something cheap, you know. Oh, yes. Okay, this is a good one that I found recently. This needs an introduction. So, again, we were speaking of Sridhar Maharaj, right? So Sridhar Maharaj was informed that Prabhupada had spoken of the Ritvik system of initiation. His godbrothers knew. There is even one recorded video of, I believe it was Bon Maharaj, or I think we can go see that before. Yeah, let's go see this. Okay, please stay with me. This is important. Okay, because I want to show you some. This I did not know. I've discovered recently. Please stay with me. I've downloaded recently a video of that they called "Disciple of My Disciple" that was done slow. I believe that was after maybe the Ritvik system of initiation starting to be spoken of. Okay, so ISKCON has done that. So we have a few devotees speaking about this here. One Mataji. Okay, so they're defending the Guru system in ISKCON. Okay, Harisori Satsvarupa Das here. You know, anyway, so here, okay, they even talk to this man. I don't know why they went to see him. We have to see through Guru Sastra Sadhu. I don't see him falling into any of those category. Anyway, Giriraj Swami speaking, Tamal Krishna speaking. Okay, so there's also one of the God brothers of Srila Prabhupada. That's what I want to show. Have I missed that, or was it somewhere else? Okay, I'm sorry. I think I confused. They didn't put him in here. Or is it that I'm not? I've skipped it. Please bear with me. No, I think it's not. It's not in this one. They went to interview one of Srila Prabhupada's god brother after Srila Prabhupada's departure. I believe it was maybe Bon Maharaj. You know. So yes, sorry. So I do not know where I've seen it. So Bon Maharaj was. He speak. I'm not sure if it's Bon Maharaj, but one of the. It's a famous clip. You know, he's there sitting. He's got he's old Maharaj. He's got a beard there. And anyway, so he's saying you need to appoint. He's speaking about a conversation that he had with Srila Prabhupada, and he's saying, you know, you need to appoint someone as your successor. And Prabhupada said, no, I've appointed 13 Ritviks. So so that God brother said, yes, now they are Ritviks. When you disappear, they'll become gurus. You know. So my point here is that Srila Prabhupada's God brothers were aware of that Ritvik system. They were aware. They knew. So Sridhar Maharaj also knew of that Ritvik system. And he did not want to implement it. He said, now the 13 of you must become Acharya. And boom, 13 Vyasasam were there in Puri Maharaj. Here, Divya, yes, Puri Maharaj was speaking. Thank you, Divya Mataji. So they knew, okay, now throughout when there started to be so many fall downs, Bhavananda started to have sex with men. This he has admitted that. There's a video of him speaking about it. Okay, you know, Kirtanananda became crazy. He went in a court case because one of his disciple killed another devotee who was starting to speak about the Ritvik system and so on. So much craziness was happening. Hamsadutta was called the machine gun guru. You can see that actually in the Sacramento Bee newspaper. Sacramento Bee newspaper. There's a picture of Hamsadutta with his guns, all the guns that he had. He had machine guns and all. They called him the machine gun guru. He was also a drunkard. He, you know, started to drink and all of this. So much craziness happened, and in that time they were all called His Divine Grace. If you go to the GBC resolution, you know, I've shown you the 2004 one. If you go prior to that, you go, you know, 1981, you will see that all those 13 so-called acharyas were called acharyas, and they were called their divine grace, and they had title like Bhaktipad, Vishnupad, just like Prabhupada, Bhaktipad in this way. So yeah, so anyway, so they changed that later on. Oh, okay, we cannot call them His Divine Grace, and so on and so on. And even the GBC said, those 13 guru system was wrong. We were wrong. The GBC admitted we should not have appointed only the 13 of them. Now everybody can become guru. So if what they were saying was wrong, then what was right? You see, a pure devotee cannot fall down, and only a pure devotee can become Diksha Guru. Okay, so coming back to the point I was making, they knew that they were supposed to be Diksha Gurus. They were supposed to be Ritviks, and Sridhar Maharaj also heard about that, and why he heard about that. But throughout all these fall downs, he never said, okay, let's stop. He said, no, they must stay, they must remain. Even though they fell down, he was telling them must still act as Diksha Guru. Now, I'm going to show you the thing I want to show you. Okay, please look at this. This is from, share screen. Okay, this is from yes, His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, founder Acharya of Math, Gora Purnima, 26th of March 1986. Okay, this is in his book Sermons of the Guardian of Devotion, Volume 1. Okay, so he's saying, I've been maintaining the disciplic succession. Is no longer possible for me. I'm too old. Okay, you all know that from a very long, I have chosen Shriman Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj, and I have given him sannyas. All my Vaishnava God brothers are very affectionate towards him, and it also is their desire to give him his disposition. Okay, now I have previously given to him the charge of the mat, and now I'm giving him the full responsibility of giving Harinam, Diksha, Sannyas, etc. as an Acharya of this mat on behalf of myself. Those who have any regard for me should give this respect and position to Govinda Maharaj as my successor. As much as you have faith in my sincerity, then with all sincerity I believe that he has got the capacity of rendering service in this way. With this, I transfer these beads, and from now he will initiate on my behalf as Ridvik. The Ridvik system is already involved both here and also in foreign land. Who is he talking about? He's speaking about the Ridvik system of initiation that Prabhupada is using. By 1986, many Ridviks were already ongoing. The Ridvik is the representative. So if you want to take from me and you take by my hands, by his hands, then it will be as well as good as taking from me. In the Mahamandala, Sagar Maharaj, formerly Akshayananda Swami, and many others also Ridvik of Swami Maharaj. He's speaking of Srila Prabhupada here. They call Srila Prabhupada Swami Maharaj. So he's quoting some devotee who are acting as Ridvik for Srila Prabhupada. But in this mat, they may do so. But in this mat, in any mat, under this mat, he will be the representative. If anyone cannot accept this, he may leave the mat rather than stay here and disturb the peace of the mat. But Sridhar Maharaj did not introduce that Ridvik system in ISKCON. What did he do? He did exactly what he's telling them not to do. He stayed and he disturbed the peace of ISKCON by telling them, yes, you become. So he himself is putting the Ridvik system, but he did not put it in the presence, after Srila Prabhupada's departure. So with all my sincerity and so on, prasad, now prayers, now I shall go from here, meaning he will leave the body. He will do the necessary on my behalf. He will give Harinam, Diksha, Sannyas, and everything. Sermons of the Guardian, you can go see by yourself. It is there. It is in the introduction. So, he is Prabhupada God brother. I cannot, I have no authority to speak against him and all. But don't you feel that this is hypocrisy? That he himself did not try to help Srila Prabhupada introduce the Ridvik system of initiation in ISKCON, even though when there were so many fall downs. But now when it's his time to depart, he's introducing the Ridvik system of initiation. So this is a big, the duplicity that we can see. Okay, let's continue in these notes. Yes. They speak of the discrimination. We need to have discrimination. Okay, we can maybe read very fast. This is 1742 Srimad Bhagavatam. Shisuta Goswami said, Draupadi then saw Ashvatthama, who was bound with ropes like an animal and silent for having enacted the most inglorious murder. Due to her female nature and due to her being naturally good and well behaved, she showed him due respects as a Brahmana. So Prabhupada is saying, this is Ashvatthama. He had killed her sons and he tried to kill, the dynasty of Kuru and so on. So the Lord condemned him, and Arjuna also condemned him, but Draupadi did not do so. Okay, this is due to her mild nature as a woman. Women as a class are no better than boys, and therefore they have no discriminatory power like that of a man. Ashvatthama proved himself to be an unworthy son of Dronacharya or a Brahmana, and for this reason he was condemned by the greatest authority, Lord Sri Krishna. And yet a mild woman cannot withdraw her natural courtesy for a Brahmana. Even to date, in a Hindu family, a woman shows proper respect to a Brahmana caste, however fallen and heinous a Brahma Bandhu may be. But the men have begun to protest against Brahma Bandhus, who are born in families of good Brahmanas, but by action are less than Shudras. So Prabhupada is saying here, a good man or woman accept anything very easily, but a man of average intelligence does not do so. So those who accept those leaders in ISKCON, oh, he's a sannyasi, you must respect, he's guru. They're okay. We can say they have, a good tendency to not find fault, but it's not a sign of intelligence, because Prabhupada is saying an average intelligence does not do so. So, but anyway, we should not give up our reason and discriminatory power just to be gentle. We should not say, let's not fight. Sometimes they say like that. Why are we fighting? No, there's no question of being gentle. You must discriminate properly. One must have good discriminatory power to judge a thing on its merit. We should not follow the mind nature of a woman and thereby accept that which is not genuine. Ashvatthama may be respected by a good-natured woman, but that does not mean that he's as good as a genuine Brahmana. So same thing, we should not accept them as guru because simply they are guru, Okay, here another quote. A guru is called also acharya. So in ISKCON, they separate acharya and guru. They say, no, Prabhupada is acharya and we're like guru. We're like small guru, and big guru is called acharya. Prabhupada here is saying, no, a guru is called also acharya. Never did Prabhupada say there are some guru and there's some acharya, two different things. No, it is the same thing. This is a quote from Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati. When childish people think themselves Mahabhagavatas and act in defiance of the Vaishnava spiritual master, such behavior simply holds them back from receiving the mercy of the Vaishnava Guru. So if we think that, yes, now I'm Mahabhagavata, I will act as such, then we are blocking ourselves from receiving the mercy of the spiritual master. Okay, again, they say, the argument that Prabhupada did not create any guru. Prabhupada is saying, if you're incapable of raising yourself to the standard of becoming spiritual master, that is not your spiritual master's fault. That is your fault. Okay. And here again, a teacher can give you hints. The acharya can give you hints that you can be saved this way. But the execution of the duties, that is in your hand. Okay. So it's about us. Okay. Again, Srimad Bhagavatam 4:12-32 purport. It is the duty of the Shiksha Guru or Diksha Guru to instruct the disciple in the right way. And it depends on the disciple to execute the process. All right. Okay, now it shows how Srila Prabhupada actually wanted his disciple to start to act as initiator, spiritual master, but probational. No problem. GBC means now they should tour very extensive. That is first principle. The GBC, not sit down now in one place and pass resolution. This is happening a lot now. They're sitting down and they're passing resolution. No. They must be active. They must act like me. As I'm an old man, I'm traveling all over the world. Now to give me relief, the GBC members, I shall expand into 12 more so that they can exactly work like me. Gradually, they will be initiators, at least first initiation. So you see how Prabhupada is starting to introduce the way that GBC will act as also a link to Prabhupada. So the whole Ritvik thing was coming up, So Prabhupada here he's saying, okay, at least first initiation. But what did he do later on? He had them give first and second initiation on behalf of Prabhupada. So it is in the same mood, Prabhupada wanted to expand himself by his bona fide disciple that act as Shiksha Guru that will start to initiate on behalf of Prabhupada. Because mind you, after July 9th, they were all free to go and initiate, on behalf of Prabhupada, initiating here. and make more disciples. They did not have to speak to Prabhupada about the initiation. They could do so. So in this way, they were empowered to initiate, but on behalf of Prabhupada, Okay, here this is very important. Why? This is Madhya Lila, chapter 10, 139. A pseudo spiritual master cannot transform a person into a brahmana, but an authorized spiritual master can do so. This is the verdict of Shastra. So they are giving second initiation, right, to their disciple, but if you cannot have your disciple manifest the qualities of a brahmana, you're not actually giving the brahmana diksha. You're not, because you have to, what is that verse? Turning, oh, my light just died off. Turning bell metal into gold, that can be done by Mahabhagavata. It's not that artificially I can do that. Okay, just give me 1 second. I'd like to replug my light here. So to turn bell metal into gold, this is the example. To turn like a mlecha or shudra into a bona fide brahmana, that can be done. See if this is charging. Sorry. That can be done by a bona fide spiritual master. If you're not empowered, if you're not authorized, you cannot do that. So therefore, we see that they are not capable of raising themselves to become Madhyamadikari in ISKCON. Disciples and gurus, they cannot, because a Madhyamadikari means he can recognize. He knows, here's Kanishta, here's Madhyamadi, here's Itwama. Now, why do I make such a bold statement? Very easy. They worship their spiritual master with such prayers as Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivekachacharya Ashtotara Shishimad, such and such, So these are prayers meant from Mahabhagavatas. Not only that, Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastavutare Shrimati someone iti namine. These are prayers for Mahabhagavatas only. So these prayers are used by every single disciple in ISKCON for their spiritual master. They were used, So how you are using prayers that are meant for Mahabhagavata for someone who's not on that platform? That means you are Kanishtadikari. Because a Madhyamadikari will say, no, he's not a Mahabhagavata. Why should I use this prayer? Just like we have got all reverence for His Grace Nagopal Prabhu in our ISKM. We know that he's a very advanced devotee, and we try to serve him whenever it's capable. We follow his guidance and so on. But we are not going to be artificially using such prayers, because why? That's going to be an insult to him. And that is spoken of in the when it comes to the episode of Prithu Maharaj. When Prithu Maharaj became, advented himself, he was praised. There was, there's a chapter like that, praised by the professional reciters, okay? And Prithu Maharaj, he said, whoa, don't start praising me like this yet, because I've not manifested my pastimes yet, So to overly glorify someone is actually an offense. I mean, you're insulting him, okay? So now I'd like to find this. Yes, okay. 4:15 is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 15. So they are all glorifying their spiritual master in ISKCON as Mahabhagavatas with such prayer. Actually, what they're doing is an insult. And to accept such prayers is also offensive. Okay, let us take a look now. Here. Yes, okay. So it starts from here, 22nd. King Prithu, so this is 4:15:22 Bhagavatam. King Prithu said, "O gentle Sutta, Magadha, and other devotee offering prayers, the qualities of which you have spoken are not distinct in me. Why then should you praise me for all these qualities when I do not shelter these features? I do not wish for these words meant for me to go in vain, but it is better that they be offered to someone else. Okay, right? And then Prabhupada says, Prithu Maharaj, he was a Shaktya incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because the qualities were not yet manifest. However, King Prithu very humbly asked why the devotee should praise him with such exalted words. So he was just born, he was born out of the fire, and they were already praising him. And he said, I haven't done anything yet. Why are you praising me so fast? Okay. O gentle reciters, offer such prayers in due course of time, when the qualities of which you have spoken actually manifest themselves in me. The gentle who offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead do not attribute such qualities to a human being who does not actually have them. Okay. Okay, and so he rejected those prayers. Okay. Okay, and here Prabhupada in the purport here. If a man who does not factually possess the attributes of a great personality engages his followers in praising him with the expectation that such attributes will develop in the future, that sort of praise is actually an insult. So they're accepting those prayers. They're not telling their disciples, look, I'm not a Mahabhagavata. If I was a Mahabhagavata, I would have made the entire world Krishna conscious by now. Everybody would know ISKCON. But no, ISKCON is dwindling in the West, and I'm preaching maybe a little bit in some villages in India and so on. So they're not stopping their disciples. No, they like to hear all these prayers. So that is actually an offense. That is an insult. They're being insulted by their disciples. How could an intelligent man, competent enough to possess such exalted qualities, allow his followers to praise him if he did not actually have them? Praising a man by saying that if he were educated, he might have become a great scholar or great personality is nothing but a process of cheating. A foolish person who agrees to accept such praise does not know that such words simply insult him. So the disciples of a guru who is not a Mahabhagavata and is accepting Mahabhagavata prayers, met from Mahabhagavata, he's being insulted by his disciple. The disciple has insulted the guru, and the guru is being insulted. As a person with a sense of honor and magnanimity does not like to hear about his abominable actions, a person who is very very famous and powerful does not like to hear himself praised. Yeah. Okay, so again, he's saying, my dear devotees, headed by the sutta just now, I am not very famous for my personal activities because I have not done anything praiseworthy you could glorify. Therefore, how could I engage you in praising my activities exactly like children? So it is a child play, that I'm praising, I have got my spiritual master. He's so exalted. I must offer him prayer. This is all false. It's not based on factuality. It's simply because I like my spiritual master here. He's so great, and I will glorify him. It is basically a sense gratification, So it is not bona fide. Okay. Now, I think we have done a lot so far. Let us see if there's anything else we can discuss. Of course, this we can go again and again and again, but oh yes, this is here. Some devotee in ISKCON, there's one guru that doesn't chant his rounds anymore, and he says that he's chanting within his mind. Okay, but here, this is from Bal Sangit, one of the song by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So he said, my dear mind, when you chant japa on the mala within your mind, why do you cease the actions of chanting japa externally? Because that guru has ceased to chant japa externally, but he says he chants in the mind. When one performs bhajan within the mind and prema factually arises internally, then the external bodily also becomes perverted by those symptoms. Therefore, the body rocks and sways while one incessantly turns their beads and chanting japa. So if the person is actually chanting within, his body should be rocking and swinging, and he should actually take his beads and chant, Anyway, so this is just one thing. Yes, so this is from an article, Vairagi Vaishnava Digera, Charitra Visheshataha Nirmala Hauyachai. The characters of renounced Vaishnavas need to be especially pure. This is in the Sajjana Tushani, that was a magazine written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Okay, so this is 1893. We can read that. Another's woman, another's wealth, another's property. They should never covet all these things. Those who are truly Vaishnavas naturally never engage in these activities. Hypocritical ascetics and Vaidala vratis commit various vices while accepting the posts of mantracharyas. Due to the faults of some renunciates, nowadays the Vaishnava renunciates have been condemned. It is our wish that the pure Vaishnava renunciates will always be ready to immediately reject the company of fallen mendicants and give true instructions to the world. You see, so Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking of false sannyasis. So real sannyasis will give up their association. The number of fallen renunciates is increasing day by day. They need to be completely isolated, just like Bhaktivedanta Purna Maharaj. He had illicit sex with a 14-year-old girl, even younger than that. She's speaking out now. Many of them are speaking out at the moment. So he's been ostracized now, but he's fallen, right? And he's having sex and so on. So it's increasing. Renounced Vaishnavas are naturally rare. Why renounce the pleasure of family life? If one cannot constantly chant Harinam while keeping proper conduct, then the position of a renunciate will not be kept pure. Therefore, this is important. If the number of Vaishnava renunciates increases, it must be ascertained that some evil work of Kali is transpiring. If the number of Vaishnava renunciates increases, it must be ascertained that some evil work of Kali transpires. Again, I would like to show you that list of initiating. That's a lot, isn't it? So many Swami, Goswami. If it increases, there's a trick of Kali. Because why? Because what is it? Is very rare. Here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying it is very rare. The reason why the number of renunciates is increasing nowadays is because at the time of their accepting the renounced order, there is no deliberation on their qualification. When an unqualified person is given the garb of a mendicant, what will happen in the end? If there's no general attention given to this subject, then Vaishnava Dharma will not be protected. And this is what's going on now. So concerning this, there's something important we need to discuss now. That is, Bhaktivedanta Purna Maharaj, he fell down, right? He had sex. And now what are they quoting? Apichet Sudurachara, right? The verse from Bhagavad Gita that says, Krishna says, even if one commits the most abominable of all action, if he's properly situated in his devotional service, he still has to be considered saintly. So they quote that verse. They say, no, you still have to consider him a saint, even though he had sex with a minor. Oh, really? Okay. So they always use this verse, every time a guru falls down in ISKCON, they will quote that. In other words, they try to protect the fallen guru, so-called guru, instead of trying to protect the victims of that guru, even though such victims are poor, innocent young girls who were raped by such men. But here we will see this is again from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I'm quoting a lot from him these days because I'm reading not all of his articles. He has written so much, but I'm reading a lot. Okay. He quotes that verse. Okay. Where is this? Nothing considering it is a reason. Must think carefully. One more physical in this reason to Madai. Okay, yes. Okay, so here. Okay, you see here, he's quoting this. So even if one is impious, okay, now that the devotee who has translated that has not used Prabhupada's translation, I do not appreciate that, but anyway, we can understand. If one is impious and has committed abominable acts, if he worships me with one pointed devotion, such a person should be considered saintly because his determination is perfect. He quickly becomes righteous again and attains everlasting peace. O Konteya, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. So first of all, this is for the Kanishtadikari, because the Kanishtadikari might have some temporary fall down, and he is excused because he's trying, if he's sincere, he's trying to advance. We don't speak here of the topmost position of being a guru. No way. If actually you're falling down, it's the proof that you're Kanishta, which is the proof that you can never become Diksha Guru. So anyway, they use this verse for Bhaktividya Purna Maharaj. Now, Kadamba Kanana Swami, he gave a class and he was quoting that and saying, we should still accept him and this poor him. He was more compassionate towards him than towards the poor girl who got raped by him. So here, through the influence of Bhakti, am I still sharing? Yes. Through the influence of Bhakti, all abominable activities that may have existed before the appearance of Bhakti, which seem to be one's very own nature, are reduced day by day and are finally destroyed within a short time. Finally destroyed within. So if they're not destroyed, there's a problem, isn't it? Discussing the faults of a Vaishnava without a virtuous intention results in Vaishnava Parad. Okay, so we begin this lecture by saying we want to protect our own spiritual life. We want auspiciousness for those who are listening. And, we want auspiciousness also for these people, that they might wake up, but that, let's say we have less faith in that. So we have good virtuous intention in discussing these faults. If one sees some fault in a Vaishnava that appears due to divine providence, one should still not blaspheme that Vaishnava. In regards, Karabhajana has said, one who gives up everything to engage in worshipping the lotus feet of Hari is very dear to the Lord. Even if somehow the tendency to perform sinful activities appears within him, the Supreme Lord, who resides within the heart, destroys the reactions to such sins. So that also is speaking of a Kanishtadikari, who will be performing sins, will be falling down. Now here, apart from well-intended discussions of those faults that may arise accidentally, one is liable to commit the offense of criticizing a Vaishnava. The fundamental point here is that slandering and blaspheming a Vaishnava, due to any of the three faults previously mentioned, leads to Namaparad. And if one commits Namaparad, then divine revelation, Spurti, of the holy name will never manifest. One cannot become a Vaishnava without such revelation of the holy name. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling us to be careful that if we see some faults in a bona fide Vaishnava, even though it might be a great fault, we should not point it out. But at this stage in our discussion, an opposing point of view may arise. Would it be proper to deliberate on other types of faults found in a Vaishnava besides the three that have already been mentioned? The answer is that no other type of fault can exist within a Vaishnava apart from the three mentioned above. In other words, he's saying that the three mentioned about faults, I don't think I've shown them. Except from that, there's nothing else that can manifest in a well-intended Vaishnava. If someone has another type of fault that does not fit in with one of these three divisions, then according to the Shastras, they cannot be considered to be a Vaishnava. So that verse, Apiche Sutirachara, cannot be applied to them. Actually, we should seriously consider the fact that without proper motivation, it is improper to reflect upon the faults of any jiva. To blaspheme a Vaishnava is an offense. Blaspheming other jivas is a sin. A Vaishnava has no desire to perform such sinful activities. So above the three faults, what are those three faults? Yes, here. Influence through all of them. So one is very own nature, I believe. Then some that happen by providence. Yeah. So anyway, so it's not that this Apichet Sudarachara verse can be used for such thing. And those things are still going on in ISKCON. It's not that the rapes has stopped. There's still such thing happening, So, all right. Now, I think we've done a lot. I don't know if the question side, let's see if there's any question. Okay, so thank you for keeping the question chat quite... So Dimitri Prabhu, the argument that this system was established only for the time while Srila Prabhupada is present. Yes, so that they cannot prove. Where does it say that? In fact, Srila Prabhupada was asked, when you're no longer here with us, what to do? So Prabhupada said, yeah, I'll appoint some people to give first and second initiation. So you have to make the link between May 28th and July 9th. So we have this at least. What do they have? So So they refer to a room conversation, and if by Krishna's grace I recover from this condition, then I shall begin again, or I may not be pressed in this condition to initiate. It is not good. Yes, so if he recovers, then he will again take charge of the initiation, but now there are the 11 there, but he did not recover. So why don't you just continue with this? That argument doesn't make much sense to me. They say that, it was a temporary thing. Yeah. Meanwhile, while he's in this condition, that's all right. But he was still asked, what to do when you're no longer here with us. So if you're so much concerned about what Prabhupada said, then show me where did he say that you can have the GPC appoint some gurus. Where is the important factor of self-effulgent acharya? That is completely kicked out the bucket, And where did Prabhupada allow you to vote in some gurus? That is bogus. Okay. Yeah, so yes, all right. I think what is this here? 2 points. 1, cover up of the officiating priest appointed to initiate on Srila Prabhupada's behalf. ISKCON obvious cover up of Srila Prabhupada's poisoning. You must accept both points to connect. Yes, okay, the poisoning issue, that is a whole other thing. They found some cadmium in Srila Prabhupada's hair sample, 10 times or even more the amount needed to kill a man. Cadmium does not appear naturally. We don't eat, and anyway, 10 times needed to kill a man. So they have those proofs also. There is this Nityananda Prabhu who has made this research. He has made some videos concerning this. So yes, they have also poisoned him, what to speak of anything else. So you can make your own research. You go to Prabhupada poisoning, you go on YouTube, you can type maybe, I think they call it sharp sword production. If you type like sharp sword production, Prabhupada poisoning, there's a well-made video by Nityananda Prabhu that shows all the evidences. You can go through that. So, okay, how come you think you are smarter than millions of Vaishnavas? Well, I don't think I'm smarter. That's why I quote only. Have you ever heard me say, my opinion, I think this, I think I've just shown what Prabhupada is speaking. I don't think I'm smarter than anyone, but by Krishna's mercy, at least I can discriminate. I can see who is who. So that much mercy I've got, and I pray that I don't lose that. And what is the meaning of millions of Vaishnavas? There will always be more Kanishta Adhikari than Madhyam and Uttama Adhikari. So in other words, if we follow the general voting of, or the general opinion of the greater majority of Vaishnavas, that's also wrong, even though they're Vaishnavas, because we've shown a Vaishnava cannot discriminate. I mean to say, Kanishta Adhikari cannot know who is Kanishta, who is Madhyam, who is Uttama. So if you follow the vote of Kanishta Adhikaris, even though there are many, many, many more time than Madhyam Adhikari, you're also being cheated. Why you have so much anger? Yes, because Prabhupada has done so much good for our movement. ISKCON is such a beautiful organization, and they're destroying it, completely destroying. You are not making your research, Mr. Rajan Slavnich. You do not know. You are content with the situation that you have in ISKCON at the moment. Maybe you have a temple near you. You have some nice devotees there. We're not saying they're not devotees. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that the whole system of appointing a guru is complete bogus. You cannot find any place in Shastra that this has happened, and you cannot find where Prabhupada has done that. So, no one us accepting anyone as Mahabhagavata. Then why use the prayers met from Mahabhagavata? Every disciple in ISKCON uses Nama Om Vishnu Padaya prayer to refer to their spiritual master. They just remove Prabhupada's name and they put their spiritual master's name. Every one of them. There was one devotee who came to stay at our house. He stayed for about 10 days. He's from ISKCON, so his spiritual master is Jayapataka Swami. And I was seeing how he's doing deity worship in the morning. All the big prayers meant for Mahabhagavata as he was reciting, and he was holding the picture of Jayapataka Swami. So we do not accept that. I'm sorry. Okay, anyway, I don't think we need to answer all of these accusations, about baseless accusation. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I wanted to know the timestamps where you talked about the main difference between ISKM and ISKCON. Yeah, well, the main difference has been spoken of throughout this whole thing. The main difference is that ISKCON should have been continued with the Ritvik system of initiation, where Srila Prabhupada is the only Diksha Guru, and his representative, the Shiksha Guru, act as a transparent via medium between the neophyte and Srila Prabhupada. So all disciples in ISKCON are meant to be Diksha disciples of Prabhupada only. That's it. That is the difference. And ISKCON is saying, no, we can make a system where we will vote in some conditioned souls to act as gurus and so on. So we are not for that. Yes, so thank you very much. All right, so I think we can stop here. There are so many other things that maybe don't come to my mind at the moment that we could speak. So we hope that at least one person will have listened to this and sincerely contemplate the situation and see through Prabhupada's teachings that we are not wrong, we are right, and it is perfect. It is a perfect system. ISKM is working perfectly because His Grace Nagopal Prabhu doesn't have to take the karma of all of us prematurely, right? So he's protected. All of us are accepting a Mahabhagavata as Diksha Guru, Srila Prabhupada, according to his instructions found in the July 9th letter, and it is working. Palena Parichiyate, right? We have to see by the result. We are making spiritual progress. The fact that we can discriminate like that and show, you can see all our great scholars in ISKM. We have Talvavet Prabhu, Parad Bhakta Prabhu, Subala Prabhu, Mahaprabhu. So many preachers are there. Srinivas Prabhu. So many great preachers are there, and they can speak from Prabhupada's books, and they can show you, here's that, here's this, here's that, here's that. So how come? In the CC, it is said that knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is proof of His mercy. So if we can understand this knowledge, that is proof that we have got the mercy. So we're properly situated because we can present like that. And we don't say that, to boast ourselves, but ISKM has got the highest standard when it's come to giving lecture, because we only show from Prabhupada's class. When you go in ISKCON, you will hear lectures, you will hear stories. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said like that, and then that woman said like this, and therefore we should do like that. But so they're quoting so many different stories from here and there, and they give you a conclusion. But how do you know that this is how Prabhupada would interpret that story? And how can you be guided properly? How you are left blind, right? Because you're not being shown. So we are not trained like this. So His Grace Sunagopal Prabhu, he is bona fide and showing us how. So Diego, how should I proceed if I want to find a guru? I'm a devotee from Washington, D.C. So Sastra says you have to study at least for 1 year before accepting a guru. So you should go through this lecture again. We have got also a lot of material that you have to study. Okay. You go on our any one of the moderators here, any one of the devotees, maybe can you go on the ISKM TV channel and find out that playlist of all the Ritvik videos, and please put it here in the description so that Diego knows what is a genuine guru. Okay, so Diego, you should first of all acquaint yourself with the science of Guru Tattva, understanding what is a bona fide spiritual master. Okay, and then only you can make your choice, because at this moment, if I tell you this or that, it will not be based on knowledge. You will not really understand why I'm telling you that. So you must make your own inquiries first. And if you have any yes, thank you, Dimitri Prabhu. So Dimitri Prabhu has put in the conversation here, you go into that playlist and you start listening to some of these videos. Okay, and if you have any question, you can add my number. This is my number, WhatsApp number, as well as Telegram number. You can contact me privately if you want. Name of the website that contains the letter of Srila Prabhupada. So there's prabhupadabooks.com. It's not just the letters, it's everything, all these teachings and all. You can go there, read his books. Okay. All right, so we pray that some of you have appreciated this lecture. We hope that some devotees will, open their eyes and see how there's a big problem in ISKCON at the moment. It's not that we don't like ISKCON. This is Srila Prabhupada's institution. We would love to serve in ISKCON and, preach with the name ISKCON, but unfortunately the leaders of the movement are corrupted, so there's no way to work within ISKCON. So therefore we have no other choice. And ISKM at the moment is the bona fide alternative for ISKCON. And we hope that more and more people will realize this and will see the sincerity of the devotees and will join us into this fight against the deviations that is taking place. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Anantakuti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jai Nitai Go Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you. Hare Krishna.